Welcome back, everybody. Got a new Vara Dark video to react to, and it's been going through the social media cycle for a good couple of days, where one of the newest voice actresses of Overwatch for a new character pulled a Rachel Zegler and just started mouthing off about how her original character's design pretty much trying to follow behind the popularity of Marvel Rivals, and now she got butthurt, and the one of the Blizzard CEOs or whomever sitting there backpedaled and catered to this woman's. Stop hiring activist people. Swear they ruin everything, and then they backpedal, and now everything's in like complete upheaval. Vera's going to talk about that, but before I continue, please do me a huge favor and follow me in the links in the description below, such as my YouTube channel and Twitch channel, as I stream video games like Marvel Rivals and react to videos and do review content, as well as check out Vara Dark's channel and all that good stuff. So without further ado, let's hear what Vara has to say. Jeez, even the look of this woman, you can tell she's an activist. They just got a particular look that you can spot them a mile away.
The past 2 days have been wild when it comes to the Overwatch voice actor situation, and some of the posts that she's made on social media recently have blown up, gotten a lot of attention, and she really just seems like a terrible person. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, everybody's going to have their own opinion, and not everybody can be correct 24/7, but when you are a public face and you are now representing a massive company, you need to be a little bit more professional, and some of the posts that she has been making have gotten a lot of attention, and it doesn't paint her in a very positive light. This is the type of person that best describes English or Western voice actors. They feel entitled, they are narcissists, and really they are activists. And if you criticize her or the demands that she's making, while apparently you're just an alt-right incel, and she even goes on to attack America, it is just a slew of insults being levied towards people. Which
I was watching side scrollers, and one of the people on the panel, Phoenix, made a comment. I think gave like some really good advice that I think we all should adhere to. That anytime we give like some legit criticisms about certain things that these activists been pulling in various media platforms, whether it's comics, TV shows, video games, movies, and they want to call you like alt-right or use these buzzwords names like incel or whatever, you just tell them straight to their face, okay, but challenge my argument then. Okay, now that you got your little buzzword out the way, how about you challenge my argument then? Don't like feed into the mess. Don't like oh, they call you a istrophobe. Like don't like let that slip by and ask, challenge them to challenge your argument and actually engage in legit conversation. Because most of those like to like throw those buzzwords and then like walk off like they won their argument. It's like, no, don't pull that stuff. It's the same tactic they almost always do. Say like, oh, they call you a istrophobe or whatever, and then like to walk off like they triumphed over something, like they won the day, for that side. It's like, no, like, okay, you got your little buzzword off. Actually challenge the argument now. Okay, none of that clickbait stuff. Challenge my argument. I'm right here. You in my face. You say I'm this and that and the third. Challenge my argument. That's engaging conversation. That's once you get your little name calling out the way, actually challenge my argument then, like an adult.
which isn't a good look. She has gotten a lot of attention recently, and while I do technically hate to give her more, I think that it's important to call her out. So I did another video on this topic. It will be linked
And the
down
character
below,
was
but the
good.
TLDR is that Fariha is now voicing this new Overwatch hero on Ron, and she felt like she was promised a different character design, that this character didn't look more like her in the final version.
As an actor, if I get a chance to voice act for a character in a video game or like a animated project, if they make my character look like hunky or whatever like that, I'm not gonna be like pissy about it. I'll be feeling pretty freaking good about it. So they can have like the latest goon over my character. I'll be feeling pretty freaking awesome about it. But no, because a lot of these people don't want to cater to like the male gaze. I was like, oh, God forbid guys like looking at hot women instead of frumpy, women. I'm sorry, that is just like the nature of the beast. It's weird. They're weird, like especially just like the liberal white women like to ruin a lot of stuff. Golly, like they saving the day or something, instead of getting their own freaking business.
She was furious, and she even admitted that she talked to the designers of this character privately, and they told her that they were not going to change it, and so she took this public. She is mad that she didn't get her way privately, so she was smearing Blizzard out in the open, and Blizzard has now responded to all of this backlash, confirming that they will be redesigning.
No. If you're under contract, especially, but if you're hired by somebody and they didn't bow down to you privately about your little little pitiful little concerns about the hotness of your character, but it doesn't reflect the real female form, blah blah blah. There's plenty of women out there that probably look exactly like this. You decide to go out upon yourself, take it upon yourself, and smear them, the company. They have every right to fire your narrow ass. And that's what they should have done. Let your ass go. Hire somebody else. There's plenty of women that will kill to be in the position that you are. And then you're squandering it out of some immaturity. Like I said, pulling a Rachel Zegler, you're in a privileged position that many people will that kill themselves over to get in like auditions just to get in the position that you are, to like kick off their careers, and you squandered this. Let's call it what it is. You squandered this for the sake of your activism. And that's what it is. It's just for the sake of your little activism. You're not in the right career field if your goal is to, march or whatever like that. You should just go be like a political pundit or something like that. That's where you should like put all that energy into. Because when you're into these other fields, you need to leave that crap at the door. But they don't want to do that. And they think they'll try to be slick and get away with it because they think like, oh, that's why they backpedal. Because their first inclination was probably to fire this woman, but they was too afraid of the backlash. If it was me, I'd be like, damn that. I don't care. We got lawyers. If she want to like put us up with it, we're gonna like bring up the fact that she probably broke some contract. Let's be honest. A lot of these people probably got contracts, and she probably broke this by trying to smear us on social media. And it was like, no, we broke contract. We have every legal right to fire you for that. You came to us privately. We told you what's what. You should have left it be. Okay? Maybe next project you can have some say so, but you don't got no say so in this. The character is going to be the character. That's our design. You didn't have no say so in this. You wasn't in any of the rooms where it was doing character design. You do not have any say so. It's crazy.
this character after outcry from quote unquote fans, even though it really just started because of her video. And they said the team is currently discussing what it will take, and we agree she could be even better if we get this aspect of her right in the game. Now, Fariha here, this voice actress, is sort of blowing up online. She has said that it is amazing that she finally got her way, but, well, she's facing a lot of backlash. Blizzard is facing a lot of backlash, and there's some posts now that are getting a lot of attention. So this is the first one that I saw that was a major red flag. She had said that she held off on posting about this because she wanted to make sure she could do this discussion justice. And somebody commented, "Help us push the agenda." And she said, "I shall," with a saluting face. So right off the bat, somebody who just wants her opinion.
This is why we call it woke. This, look at this. Point is like in black and white. Help us push the agenda. Now, I know what most people will say, oh, this is just a friends group, but these are the loudest. And people like her are part of this group that get in these spaces like Blizzard to push this crap. And by every stretch of the imagination should be fired immediately. This is why we cannot let. That's why we have gatekeeping to keep people like this who do not respect like the places that they get into. They isn't merging with it. They want to overtake it or trash it or try to think they know better and try to implement things on their own instead of creating their own stuff to do whatever they so choose to. If you want your character to look frumpy or whatever, or look like one of those like super leftist like stereotypes, create your own freaking game. But you're in somebody else's field. You do what they say. You're a voice actor. You came here to do a particular job, not like do protest. You insufferable little woman.
Heard her followers' opinion heard. She doesn't want actually to represent the Overwatch fandom.
Sorry, comics, movies, TV shows, you see it everywhere. And when we call it out on it, they got the gall to hide behind, oh, you're, like against progressiveness. Oh, you're against women. They use it as a shield, but no, you cannot. Don't be using that as a shield, because you got no claim. You can't stand on nothing. You trying to get away with your BS, and we're calling you out on it. You cannot hide behind that no more. We're calling out on it. The jig is up.
Just wants to push an agenda, but she then followed up in another thread saying, "I don't know if it's representative of Chinese culture. I think they specifically are just alt-right incels." Novastar here, with the trans flag in their title, said, "Yeah, you might have a point, but the Chinese culture glorifies pedophilia and lack of consent and misogyny." So we're throwing every word at the wall and hoping it sticks. And then Fariha said, "I feel this way about some anime, and then I remember the news about certain files coming out of the US, and it's like, oh, this is not exclusive to any single country. It's one that stems from patriarchy and power taken through a violent meme." So it seems that she's sort of tiptoeing around the topic. She wants to mention the Epstein files without actually talking about it in depth. And yeah, there are people from all around the world that are in those files, and there are some absolutely heinous and disgusting and repulsive and degenerate things that were done. But talking about how, oh, it stems from patriarchy and power taken through violent means, while also talking about like glorifying things like lack of consent and misogyny. I mean, oh my God, just throw every buzzword at the wall and hope it sticks. And then it boils down to, oh, it's just alt-right incels that seem to be fighting back against her.
Bring back bullies. This is probably why we had bullies. When you do weird stuff like this from time to time, the bullies were like, I'm not saying like, harsh bullying, but it's just, there's a certain level of bullying that kind of keeps this neutralized or curves this, go through some adversity, so that way they can mature and realize this is dumb. It's like, okay, hardships to, give them some understanding about the real world, not, understand what is and not what should be all the doggone time. It's just like it keeps certain things in check. And she, when she was in high school, she should have, you know, who's like the crap, the main girl in Mean Girls. You know who I'm talking about. Played by crap, I'm blanking on the doggone name. Hold on a second. God. Regina George. She could have benefited from Regina George back in her day. I'm sorry, but it just sometimes this kind of stuff needs to be like taken out, not like literally, but like metaphorically, stamped out way back in middle school or high school, just to, you know, give this chick some understanding about how the world works.
Character redesign, but Savvy had also posted that if you're going to talk about these
Rachel
greatest
McAdams is what I was
hits,
thinking.
add this gem. The new Overwatch VA has a history of very activist language, which is why she got hired. Not only is she shitting on a VA for wrongthink, but then does the outlandish thing of bringing up NZ Germany. We know that when that happens, people typically get fired. Look at what happened with Gina Carano. But of course, she's going to bring it up and face no repercussions because this is Blizzard we're talking about. Fariha said these skins are awesome, their sounds and visual designs are amazing, but I do agree with everyone saying it remains deeply dissonant to have Vara, of all characters, be voiced by an outspoken Zionist. Free Palestine. I always say this, I should not have to give a fuck about a voice actor or writer or developer's opinions, but when you make it your entire personality on social media, yeah, I am going to call you out for it. Now, if you are going to sit here and say that you stand for inclusivity and diversity, that doesn't just mean inclusivity of skin color and sexuality, that also means inclusivity and diversity of thought and opinion and ideology. They're not
Yeah, that's why I've been saying it a lot. You know, it's like you need to be inclusive of mind, not just like, you know, skin color or gender identity. You got to be also inclusive in mind. It means accepting that people like, I don't know, like Zachary Levi or Chris Pratt or somebody like that who don't buy into the same crap that someone like Pedro Pascal or Mark Ruffalo would believe in. Not saying like they, you know, wouldn't, you know, shouldn't be in the same rooms together, but they should be in the same rooms and understand each other. But no, you get these like circle jerk stuff like the Grammys and the Oscars, and they all like, oh, all in their one little silos and just have to agree with this particular side, because we saw like in like several graphs, you know, from like my Jake Monroe reaction videos I just did. Check that out, by the way, and check out his channel, by the way. And you see like more people on the right or even in the middle have more capability to listen to other people and understand from one another than more so people over in the left or even the farthest left, especially, who are more closed off from hearing anything opposite of what they think. Is weird. Back in the day, it would have been like the flip side. But it's just so weird right now. And somebody like Bill Maher points that out constantly. And he gets, you know, him, old school Democrats like him, get called alt-right. And he's not. I think he's fairly moderate, you know, or at least grew up like I have, grew up like with an old school Democratic mindset. But then we, who wants to have an understanding of all sides rather than just the one singular side that we grew up on and dogmatically, you know, wouldn't be dogmatically believed in, and we get called all kinds of names because we dare to listen and understand or agree, you know, all other points of views that isn't just ours. And it's a crazy thing to have to say out loud. That should have been like the standard. But God forbid, you don't just blanket agree with somebody like this woman and like salute the fact that I push her agenda. It's like you should have been fired, woman.
Inclusive when it comes to ideology, because they feel like they are the ones who should be in charge, in positions of power, and everybody has to agree with them or you're going to be canceled. Here's the second part of that thread where someone named Easy Snaps responded with, "There's nothing we can do about it. This has been a fight that has been going on since biblical times. Both sides have seen chaos and are victims to undeserved civilian casualties. No matter who you are, you don't want to see your people hurt or killed. That's why she speaks out. And yeah, it should be pretty normal to not want people to die." But then Fariha says that both sides' argument holds no water when it comes to Germany's actions in 1940. Why do you think it applies here? Think on that. Because they are two completely different situations.
Yeah, I see. They always drum that up. Nobody, any rational person, would not agree with what happened in Germany back in the 1940s. We all understand that, but you can't keep bringing it up by today's modern situations because they're no longer comparable at a certain point. Okay? The apples and oranges. We was dealing with a vastly different stuff back then for somebody who was trying to pretty much conquer the world and wipe out a good chunk of people. Vastly different. We're talking about like today's standards, rational people who, understand there are certain things, that, like taken for like the illegal immigrant situation. People like her would say like, "Oh, we all should let them in." It's like, but reasonable people were like, "No, there gotta be some guardrails in," but they'll end up calling you all kinds of names because you don't believe what they believe. But you're trying to be like, yeah, hey, I get it. They want to come here, but there's proper channels they did not follow, so they have to go back and go through those proper channels, or at least go through their particular court system for that kind of stuff. So, in case there's like some serious situations back at home, back at their but their country of origin, there's some serious stakes there, then there's something we can talk about. But they treat them like they're getting like executed on the street or something, or, like a firing squad, or they're, getting sent back wholesale or going sent to Guantanamo Bay. All these extremist things, and then try to compare it like, oh, this is like Nazi Germany, like Gestapo. They're using all those same words, but even though I do think there are extreme measures in terms of like manhandling, by and large, they have a particular job to do, and they have to do it. Okay, especially if they're resisting arrests or they're running. Just like any other law enforcement, they have to take to a certain, to take it to another level in order to stop them and send them back. Or if they are dangerous people, they gotta do what they gotta do. But a person like this, they were like, oh, this is just like, Nazi Germany. It was like 1940. It's like, oh God, it's like, it's not the same. Okay, you can't parse that.
Yes, again, Easy Snap said it perfectly. Nobody wants their people to be hurt or killed. Why does Fariha have to sit here and ultimately fight back and then use, of course, one of the most dramatic examples possible? Oh,
it's like Ricky Gervais says. You know nothing of the world. Accept your award. Thank your God. Thank your agent, and F off. It's pretty much what she needed to adopt. It's not like she accepted an award or anything like that, but it's just the sentiment is still the same. You know nothing of the world. You dare to do the job, do your job, and all the other stuff, leave that at your on your personal time. But you're at work, and then you dare put this crap on social media, probably breaking some kind of contract, mind you. And the first thing Blizzard should have done is fire her. They will probably have every legal right to do so.
My gosh, this person is insufferable. And clearly, I'm not alone in thinking that, because so many of the responses on these threads are, wow.
And by the way, if you see somebody with like a trans or a rainbow flag near their bio on Twitter or Instagram, I wouldn't follow them or listen to anything they probably got to say. 9 times out of 10 is probably gonna be rubbish. Cause or they use like they them in their bios. That's like, I'm probably just not gonna just engage with you whatsoever, or not take what you're saying all that seriously. Because why would you need to advertise all that crap to show you that you're on the right side of history? Oh, I'm on your side. I'm for a silo thinker with no free thinking.
This is so
Pitiful.
freaking weird. Here we have Savvy's thread on it, and people are saying things like the devs actually have the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever and make her hotter, and we know for a fact that they're not going to do that. She acts like she's a celebrity who has yet to be brought down to earth by a brutal executive. She is unhinged with her previous posts, straight out of gender studies courses. Did she just make a German reference over a game? Holy fuck. This is what happens when the ego rises above their.
That's their quick go-to for anything that isn't like, because they use that every time they can't get their way immediately. And because some people are too afraid to, or at least don't like the idea of being labeled a particular way, because nobody wants to be labeled a racist or anything of the sort. So they get all afraid instead of just letting it fly by. It doesn't apply, let it fly. Because back in the day, she would have been fired immediately. That's what I'm saying. It's stupid. Especially going behind the company's back. That people who are paying you, probably really good money, mind you, and you pull stunts like this.
Head. I'm getting tired of these effing tourists. Agreed, I could have gotten behind the mismatch between the game model and the drawn depiction, but the BS activism and her weird rant is now tied to it forever. I was thinking about picking up the game again on Switch 2, and now I'm completely out. She's also very xenophobic. Just admit you don't like video games, Grifter. There are a few people that are very upset that Savvy is calling out this unhinged voice actress, which is insane, but so are these people. You can tell that this is the type of person that Blizzard has been hiring. It's no shocker to see that they are not going to fire her or refuse to work with her in the future, and Severus Chud says it perfectly. You cave to the worst person imaginable, someone privileged enough to be voiced in your game, who immediately used that platform to attack and pressure you into uglifying a hero for being too attractive. You learned absolutely nothing. These people see that the idea of Overwatch appealing to men at all, anything attractive or fun, breaks their illusion, so they scream from social media until everything is uglified, ideologically gay, and stripped of every ounce of joy. The majority of players who enjoy your game do not want this, and yeah, I mean, Blizzard does not give a fuck, and instead of, I don't know, taking a moment and ultimately a step back to see what the overall sentiment is, they just decided to cave under pressure because their voice actor said, no, I want this character to be a different way and you should do right by me. So yeah, this person is getting absolutely wrecked on social media. They have a very questionable history of social media posts, and all I know is I personally am not going to be re-downloading Overwatch, even though I was interested in 2 of the new heroes. They are not going to get me back in this title again. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your...
Yeah, I want to check. Completely forgot about the state of play that's popping off, but had to make sure I get all of my reviews and other stuff out there for today. So tomorrow I will try to. I might be streaming early tomorrow because I got some video meetings, like at least a couple of video meetings. It might be a couple of hours tomorrow evening. So I'm trying to get a significant amount of reaction videos out early in the day, and then spend the couple hours of the evening take care of my business, and then after that's done, get back on to making the later content. But I want to check out, see what popped off at the state of play, and do some reaction videos on anything I might be interested in. But anyway, I'm curious to know what you guys think of, what's happening over at Blizzard right now. Because one of the, I think it was the CEO of Blizzard, made some kind of statement talking about he's walking it back pretty much and catering to her. It's like, how, like, the fact that you have to cater to this woman publicly like this, it's like, where are your balls? Because how can this woman march back up in, I'm not sure if her job was done with like the voiceover stuff, but they had to change the look. But how can you therefore walk back? I doubt she would ever get hired for Blizzard ever again. Matter of fact, I doubt anybody after this thing will ever hire her for anything ever again, unless they're super progressive activist type of company. But I doubt anybody want to hire this woman under worry she might smear their name publicly for any little issues she might have that she can't get her way about. She's pretty much like holding any company hostage, which as an actor, that's the kind of thing that companies will worry about if they go out on these little tirades. It's like, how can you walk in any building, with your nose up in the air, feeling yourself without getting completely raked over the coals by your bosses? Essentially, Blizzard's her boss. Oh God, it's so dumb. Anyway, I will see you guys in a little bit with another reaction video, and let me know in the comments below what you think about this voice actress and the stunts he just pulled. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are, and I'll see you all in a little bit. Peace.